Hey, good morning, it's Owen Bigland. This is the Inside Edge video blog. I wanted to do one more blog, a follow-up to some of the ones I was doing earlier in the summer on the zoning bylaws we currently have, the lack of supply, the lack of inventory, and what the city should be doing to start increasing supply. And on this one, I wanted to talk about density. There are a number of reasons, and I'm going to do more blogs this summer on some of the reasons why Vancouver real estate prices are so high. And yes, I am going to address buyers coming in, money coming in from places like China that are also driving the prices up. But I'm still standing strong on we need to increase our supply. And the city of Vancouver, in my opinion, is still living in the 1980s. Now, I just got back from a trip, a couple days in New York, Manhattan, and then I was in Los Angeles for the last 10 days. And one of the things that always strikes me when I'm driving in the taxi getting back into Vancouver is who shrunk the skyline. You get used to it when you're here. We've got a fairly decent skyline as far as the number of buildings go, but as far as the heights go, it looks like somebody shrunk them, especially when you get back from a city like New York or Chicago or even downtown Los Angeles, where they've got 60, 70, 80-story towers for days. Here, we've only got, I think, 2 towers that are over 55 stories. And, this is another stab here at Vancouver City Hall. They're still living in the 80s with these archaic zoning laws for some sort of view corridors where they will only allow a few certain parcels of land where you can build over a 50-story tower. Well, I'm here to tell you, we're running out of land. We should be building 50, 60, 70-story towers from this point on. Sure, you can throw a few low-rise ones in there, but we need to start getting more density. This isn't the 1980s anymore, and you really notice that when you go to a US city and then come back to Vancouver, how squat our skyline is. I mean, I go up to the rooftop of my office here in Olympic Village, and I look south, and it's amazingly prime real estate there that is zoned light industrial. You don't have to rezone all of it, but we should be starting to put some residential or mixed use zoning in there. The land is way too valuable. Now, I'm not going to put all the blame, though, here on Vancouver City Hall. The other thing that I want to talk about here is this NIMBY, or not in my backyard mentality. And I read this almost every single week in the Vancouver Sun and the Globe and Mail. It's a story about a developer who has been going through City Hall for the last couple of years trying to get rezoning. I'll give you an example. This one just came out yesterday. It's a well-known developer here that is trying to put up a 14-story tower, as they call it, tower, even though it's 14 stories, it's low-rise, on Commercial Drive. This has been going on since 2013. They've had multiple planning meetings that they invite the public to, the neighbors. And of course, the neighbors, they don't want this 14-story tower. Actually, I think it's 12. I might be wrong on 14. It's 12 stories, and it's on Commercial Drive. So this has happened all over the place. There was another building called the Independent in Mount Pleasant. It took years for the developer there to build, I think it's about a 22-story tower, before they finally greenlighted it. This one on Commercial now, though, has been postponed for now. And, you have no right, in my opinion, to be complaining about Vancouver real estate prices if you're protesting development. Now, listen, I'm not saying that we should be building 50, 60, 70-story towers all over the city. And I'm not saying we should be putting these towers on quiet streets. But a lot of these developments that are getting turned down by these NIMBYs are on busy thoroughfares. And it's taking them years to get this approved. Look at the West End, for instance. It's almost impossible to get anything built in the West End because of these neighborhood groups, these NIMBYs that protest it. So, you've got people that want to start creating more density, and I think the City Hall probably in some cases does, but they get sidetracked by these neighborhood groups that don't want it in their backyard. So it's a real dilemma we've got. I mean, as I say, I look at the rooftop from my office into Mount Pleasant, and it reminds me of a place like Cleveland, Ohio, where you've got a few towers and then an enormous amount of low-rise 1, 2, 3-story wood frame. But the markets compared to Vancouver, compared to Cleveland, are night and day. And, the times have changed. This isn't the 80s anymore. I think both City Hall and these neighborhood groups are going to have to get on the right page here. We've got to start increasing supply. I'm working with young buyers and middle-aged buyers and older buyers that are locals. These aren't foreign buyers. They're born and raised here in Vancouver, and I've got nothing to sell them. There's so little inventory. And as I talked about last month, we've got a bit of a Mexican standoff here. There's so many developers now that are reluctant to even wade into the waters to secure land and get it through the zoning process because of all the uncertainty and the dark clouds about adding more unruly taxes and trying to curb demand when we should be increasing supply and density. I'm not saying again that we should be paving over the parks either, but we need to start building, greenlighting more development, and we definitely need to start building to the sky. We should be building more 50, 60, 70-story towers here. The land is where the money is in. We got to build higher. I'm Owen Bigland. As always, you can reach me at Owen at owenbigland.com. See you next week.